I have an extremely busy schedule for the holiday season at the moment, and in fact soon we will embark on a drive from the UK to Germany with my two small sons, my wife, my dog. We have to cross the ocean to do that, and therefore it's going to be a few days before I find some space to share here again. But I could not let much more time pass without sharing with you all a miracle. And I want to also discuss miracles and how reality seems to hide itself from a certain perception. A certain bandwidth of consciousness seems to force reality to hide from those who would demand evidence of a miracle in their life, those who want empirical evidence and analytical evidence written down and observed. This state of consciousness, this frequency of consciousness seems to not decode. It seems as if reality itself hides from that state of consciousness. And I feel after all these years, I know why. Before I go further though, let me share with you all some good news, some wonderful magical news in my family, and also just how God ensures that we remain in comfort when we walk with Him. On the 23rd of December, my wonderful wife Fritzi decided that she would secretly do a pregnancy test. And she did this test and did not tell me the results. And on Christmas Eve, she wrapped up a lot of baby clothes and handed them to myself, my mother, my father. And with it shared the news that we had a new child on the way, and Fritzi is pregnant. And we are overjoyed. I'm truly elated that I'm going to be a father again. However, whilst this was going on, during the period whereby Fritzi was aware that she was pregnant and I was not, somebody who follows us wrote one sentence on my Facebook, and they simply wrote "new baby" with a question mark. Now Fritzi had not told anybody, and this particular lady who wrote it we have not had a conversation with. We are happy to call her a loving acquaintance, part of the community and the family supporting the children, but we've never engaged in person, one-on-one or via Zoom or anything. And so I responded to this lady and I said, no, there's not a new baby on the way as far as I know. And she replied and said, I get the sense that the soul of your child, your new child, is already with you. And I wrote back and I said, okay, maybe, who knows? But I'd had an inclination that we may be expecting again soon. And the reason I had that inclination is that last time when Fritzi gave birth to Aslan, it was quite some time before she started menstruating again. And Akila was the same, and that only happened recently. In fact, only one time since she had Akila did this happen, and now she has gotten pregnant. And so I know from my own life we are all engaging in intimacy unless we are celibate. And so I know that this precious factory that can create life, that is this male body of mine, I know that my seed is precious and should not be wasted. It is there to create new life. And so I honor that as a man. I protect that. And you can be intimate with one another without wasting this. A man can be sexually active without just burning up his ability to create life. And so for us, it was almost ceremonial when Fritzi menstruated and afterwards, because we knew she was now fertile and we knew we were now in the space where we could create life. Fritzi then told me, and I said to Fritzi, have you seen this on my Facebook? After much celebration, of course, and joy, and sharing hugs and celebrating with my family, that we have a new member of the St. Julien clan on the way, as it were. This is my family name. Many of you often ask where that's from. My whole family's surname is St. Julien. I asked her if she'd seen it, and we looked together, and at that time Facebook said that the comment had been written 17 hours ago. And I remembered when Fritzi went into the toilet, and I said, because she was in a little while, presumably taking stock of how to handle that she's pregnant, does she just tell me? Or... And we calculated that Fritzi had done the test at 7 p.m, which was 17 hours ago. So as Fritzi found out that she was pregnant, this wonderful lady, whose name I won't share because I haven't had permission, but I'll screenshot the Facebook and blank the name, had asked if we were having another baby. And what this is, aside from the miracle of a new life, there is another miracle of God, consciousness, reality, speaking and communicating, that the realm beyond the analytical mind, the sense of self that analyzes and rarely gets to see the magic and miracles of life. For when you live in unity with creation, creation reveals itself to you. When you live in analysis with creation, you create separation, for you create an analyzer and subject of analysis. At that point in unity, Spirit spoke to this lady, and she asked if we were having a new child. At the same time, Fritzi had just found out that we were. Why? Well, I have taken, as a family, we have taken a great deal of responsibility in this world, and it's sometimes a little difficult. It's a little testing, and to add into that you are having another child, like any family, can be, aside from the joy and celebration, a little bit daunting. And this was just a beautiful reminder from God to say, I am completely with you in all of this. That which you do not see is aware of this child's arrival. It's aware of your life. And as you walk by faith, I give you this gift of saying congratulations, and we are with you. By we, I mean God and the angelic horde that works with him. That white light of creation, that generous heart of unconditioned love. And so, as a man who does provide for this family, you also ask the question, will we manage with another child? But because of this, I recognize God was intimately in this from the word go, and immediately I paused and said, if God can provide for nearly 200 children through the man that I am, then God can provide for 3, one extra one, in my family home. This is the awesomeness of God's presence when you walk with God. This is the language of God, these inexplicable coincidences and synchronicities. It's not always a conversation. You're having a conversation with reality sometimes. And this is where I come on to miracles, because I've seen many miracles in my life. And having a conversation with reality requires unity with reality. And there are those who say, I need evidence of this miracle. And the question is, who is this one that needs evidence? This is where you understand what's gone on for many. Who needs the evidence? I do. Who? Who is this I? Is it your name? Is it your nationality? Is it your memories? Or is it the awareness that is aware of all of these things? And for those who demand evidence, that state of recognizing that they are the awareness that's aware of all of their memories, of their career path, of their scientific perceptions, their religious perceptions, their spiritual perceptions. No matter what identity, spiritually, scientifically, culturally, religiously, you have constructed, even in family, if you can be aware of that identity, then you have to acknowledge that you are the awareness in consciousness which is beneath the identity in thought. And when we fall into that space, reality seems to interact with us in a different way. And it was in that space of moving in unity that requires no logic, it requires faith, that I was led to start the life that I walk with these children in this amazing family out in Tanzania. It was coming from a wisdom that does not come from analysis and thought. It came from an intuitive knowing deep in the heart, deep in the soul. And so miracles do happen. And there is evidence for miracles in this world. And there is evidence, like what I've just shared, that not everything that our mainstream science pertains to be actuality is actuality. There is far more to this reality than what we can understand. But we can understand it, but only if we stop trying to analyze it, for God hides from the analyzer. There is a realm of consciousness, frequency that we can live in, whereby miracles and synchronicities are revealed to us. And that space requires a conversation with reality. And that conversation is had through grace. And when you follow the conversation with reality, that is faith. But we have to understand the word grace. What is that grace? Grace is that you cannot earn it. You can't search for it, seek it, hold it. It comes when analysis is over, when the self that you've created in thought is over. Any self you hold, religious, spiritual, scientific, all of that, when you are aware of it, you become the awareness beneath it. When you become the awareness beneath it, you recognize that all of your labels were a mask for your lack of understanding. And this is beautiful because it humbles us. It humbles us, and most humans are not humble just by accident. They are arrogant by error. Where you look out at the ocean and you say, I know what the ocean is, it's the ocean. It's so arrogant to look at that body of life and throw a word on it. When you throw the word on it, you see the word, and you lose the conversation with it in unity. And that is where the stillness comes in, and that is where you recognize God in all things. For when you are still, be still and know that I am God. You begin the interaction with reality in unity, and there miracles happen. There is where you inexplicably know reality is speaking with you, and it's God's hand in reality speaking. And you follow a number like 1111 blindly to East Africa, and all this wondrous love and joy is brought into the world because of it. All like this wonderful friend of ours, who I am going to call a friend here, decided to follow whatever that inner voice was and say, new baby, and provide me with a gift of great comfort and to be a messenger from God, to remind myself and my wife that God is with us. And this is where miracles come through. Synchronicity. Synchronicity is the language of God. Frequency is the language of God. And if you're sitting there and you say, but I want evidence, who wants it? Who? Merely an image you made of yourself in thought. Become aware of all those roles and images of who you are, all of those memories. Become aware of them. Are you aware that you want evidence? Are you aware that you are a human? Are you aware that you are an Englishman? Are you aware that you are a father or a brother or a mother? Are you aware that you are a scientist? And if you are, then you have to acknowledge that you are the awareness. When you stay with that awareness, reality begins to behave in a different way. For in that awareness, you return to the Eden consciousness and away from the fallen dualistic consciousness that we mostly walk in and society is built upon. And when you fall back to there, you have direct union. You have direct communication with God through reality, through your fellow man, through dreams, through clairaudible, through intuitive, all these different capacities. And so this was my Christmas miracle. Now aside from that, we had others, and I will just say a huge thank you to all involved. Our children had an amazing Christmas. A few days before Christmas Eve, somebody in the States provided the very final amount we needed to make sure our children had everything they needed this Christmas. And many are, I know, opposed to gift giving and materiality. But these are not children who have known material excess. These are children, many who joined our family this year, never even knew a day of love, let alone to own their own toy. And so the sheer joy and love that was emanating from Feather's Tail on Christmas Day was just phenomenal. And for everybody who makes our family possible, for everybody who shared at Christmas, for everybody who continues to make the foundations of this beautiful family possible, and take your own percentage of the role of parent and guardian for these little ones who don't have anyone. Thank you. I send you all my love. I'm very grounded at the moment and ready for my journey back to Germany, so I will leave it there. God is awesome. The only thing getting in the way of a real supernatural relationship with God in your life is thought. Not thought in general, but thought as the basis of who you are. God bless you.
Oh, holy night, the stars are brightly shining.